everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the Update Danger Zone dev server, and it's time to have a look at a new Su-17 that is coming to the Soviet tech tree. Now we've had a few Su-17s in the past, in the Soviet tech tree before. We had the Su-17M2, then the squadron vehicle, Su-22M3 was added, and then of course now we have the Su-17M4. The Germans also have a similar vehicle in the form of the Su-22UM3K. So there's a bunch of very similar vehicles running around at this point in time, and it's nice to see another one for the USSR. Instead of just having a new high-tier fighter, an interceptor or anything like that, it's nice to have some CAS aircraft which are pretty good at their roles as well, even if the MiG-27 is still better. The Su-17M4 comes in being very similar to its brother. It has access to the Saturn AL-21F3 engine, which gives it 9,040 kgf for its afterburner thrust. It also has access to two 30mm NR30s, which you can find right here, with 160 rounds of ammunition. But when it comes to its armament, the suspended loadouts were always the ones which made this thing a little bit more powerful. It does have the variable swept wings of its brothers as well, plus also some countermeasures, a lot more than some of the others that we've seen. The vehicle gets access to 64, which is super nice. You can actually see them alongside in the fuselage here, in the top. And I've always really liked how they've modeled these. They didn't have to kind of model them, they could have just left them out and just have the effects, but they look super cool with it. Also, this thing's skin is super nice, so it's a tricolor with the teeth, always fantastic to see. The Su-17M4 also gets access to the secondary weapon loadouts, the presets, which have been brought in, but you can see all the different weapons that this thing can carry. You've got a bunch of R60s, you've got a ton of bombs in the form of 500s, 250s, and then also the S-24B rockets, the massive ones, which are designed to put quite large holes in buildings. You also have all of the different types of missiles, the Kh-29Ts, which are the TV ones, the 29Ls, which are the laser ones, and then also the 25MLs, which are the other laser ones. You even have the S-25L laser rockets. These things are massive once again, and also the S-250 rockets as well. Bunch more bombs, and of course the Grom, the KH-23Ms, the M-close ones which follow the center of the vehicle. Bunch of 130Fs, S3Ks, S8KOs, S5Ks, and even some guns if you feel like it. So this thing can really bring pretty much whatever it wants at the end of the day, and it can have a decent time with it. I've always found it a little bit dodgy to use these missiles on the Su-17 and also on other vehicles, so it's kind of nice to see that you can bring a bunch of different things if you want to try and give everything else a go. Only gets access to R60s, which R60s are still incredibly good. They're massively susceptible to flares nowadays, but that's completely fine. You know, not everything has to have insanely good missiles, especially if it is seen as more of a strike aircraft compared to anything else. But I would say that generally this vehicle should do pretty good in the ground attack role, and also do pretty good in the ground realistic role of being able to do a ton of damage to ground targets. The real question that you got to ask yourself when it comes to a vehicle like this is, are you going to remove the MiG-27 in favor of this thing? Because generally what you do is you run the MiG-23, you run also the MiG-27. The MiG-27 has the guided bombs, it also has the missiles, so do you take this over that? And I suppose if you want more weapons and you feel more comfortable with using a bunch of them, then you would take this vehicle, but I think most people are going to stick with what is already meta, what is already easy to use. The Soviets already have a bunch of CAS options, not just the MiG-27, but also the other Su-17, and of course the helicopters, the K-50, the K-52, and also the MiG-28NM. So fitting this in the lineup is not really going to be the easiest thing to do, unfortunately. It's one of those which is probably going to get left by the wayside. But the fact that this is one of the stronger Su-17/22s in the game only means that it could only be seen as a positive when trying to, you know, analyze the situation for these things. And they are beautiful aircraft. You know, they are machines which can get about and have a bit of fun around the place. I wish... Oh, the zoom's quite nice nowadays, actually. Whoa, okay, then. Alright. Okay, alright. Just relax. Just relax. Just relax. Okay, right. I think it might be slightly bugged. Oh boy, I always love bugs. But yeah, so obviously the guiding systems aren't working very well, but maybe at some point in the future they'll work well. Right. Let's see. Will it actually lock onto this? I don't think so. I might have been going at a weird angle, or it might be because I have two conflicting missiles. That might be what's going on with it, because they did actually test this thing when it came to the sneak peek, and it worked pretty well. So this might be a user error, so I apologize if something's going on, but I've never seen that apart from when the targeting pod was bugged for the Jaguar compared to before. But I'm hoping that people will take this thing. I'm hoping that people will have a little bit of fun with it. What the... Yeah, okay, it's just bugged. Never mind. It's very sad that it's not working correctly, but you can kind of see the potential of this thing, you know, with all of the different armaments that it can bring, and also the fact that when it actually does work, which hopefully will be when it comes to the game, it will be able to go fast, it will be able to hit the ground running, and it will be able to move out of the, you know, out of the way pretty quickly too. And one of the biggest limitations of this thing was the fact that it had access to pretty bad radar, which it still does, but at least it has access to an RWR, and also way more countermeasures than before, which will really help it out in the future. One of the major problems with a lot of the vehicles at the higher echelons is they are very limited compared to their countermeasures, and that just means that you're put in a very tough situation in order to be more combat effective. If you don't have a ton of countermeasures, you will not survive for long at top tier. So the fact that a lot of these vehicles are ending up with 60 or ending up with even more is fantastic for the vehicles, and I'm hoping it will be a positive thing for them going forward. Hopefully we are past the days of no countermeasures and we can just have a decent time with these vehicles and actually have ways of defending ourselves, even if it is limited to a bunch of different ones. Let's just see. Yeah, it's just screwed, god damn it. Very sad indeed, but at least we get to kill a Focke-Wulf. Well, it kind of sucks I can't show you all of the stuff that this thing can do, but understand it's not bringing in any new mechanics, it's just kind of plonking them all on one system, so if you want to try a bunch of different stuff, that's what this machine will be for. Hopefully in the future it works, I'm sure they'll fix the bugs with it as it goes forward, and it should be a decent cast plane, just not as good as what already exists. And that's going to be the problem for it going forward. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Mega Dino King, Professor X1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R. Barine, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.